What's going on out there in YouTube land? Matthew back here with you today. I haven't done a video in probably about getting close to a week, but it's been very, very slow. I've only had a few things come in, so I was kind of waiting until I got enough together to do a video. And today I decided, because when this arrived, and I'll be explaining this soon, that it was a good time to do a new video. I also, this past week, I've had two TTM returns that I'll share with you. And I had this come in for the 88 top set that will be turned into a signed cut. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this first. Now, this was an eBay purchase. Now, the first thing I will tell you is I purchased this card, and I have cut the edge of it open and to see what was in it. And I'll just go ahead and take this out. This was a card that I purchased off of eBay, autographed Dick Schofield, for the 88 Tops project I've been working on. And I had purchased this. It was purchased on December 21st, before Christmas. Okay. The seller had shipped it. And as we got on into January, it got to where I had like 40, 45 items that I had purchased off of eBay come in, and this was still not here. And we were getting to that point where you've only got 30 days from, I think it's 30 days. I'm not sure now, because I don't sell on eBay anymore. I haven't for very many years, so I don't keep up with this. But it's either 30 days from the date of purchase or 30 days from the date that the seller marks the item as shipped. But I think it's 30 days from the day of purchase. But anyway, it was getting like down to where I only had like 2 days left if I was going to open a case as item not received or not. At least I think that, because it had been like 28 days since I purchased the item. And I contacted the seller and I was like, I just wanted to touch base with you. I've never received this. Did you by chance accidentally forget to ship it? Because I've had like over 40, 45 items that I purchased since this card arrived. Well, the seller messaged me back and said, could you wait just a few more days because I did ship it. It should be there. And I was like, well, I've only got a couple of days until, left for me to open up an item not received case. So the seller's like, well, just go ahead and go ahead and open up a case. And if it don't show up, in the next few days, I'll just go ahead and refund you. Well, sadly, this never showed up. The seller issued me a full refund, which it wasn't that much. It was like a $3 card plus shipping. That shipping was, I think they charged $1 shipping. At any rate, they issued me a full refund, and they did that like on January, I don't know, January 20 something. It had, because like I said, I went ahead and opened up the item not received case. And like about 3 days later, and instead of the seller waiting until eBay basically did it for them, they just went ahead and issued the refund, a full refund. Well, I forgot about it. And my mail lady actually told me like a couple of days. It was like, actually, it was Friday, because it's Thursday now. It was last Friday. I met her at the door. I was giving her some mail, and she handed me my mail, and she said, tell me something. She said, are you missing a purchase off eBay? And I said, actually, not that I said, no, not, because I wasn't, I was like, no, not that I'm aware of. Why? She said, because she said at the post, she said down here at the main Youngstown, DC center, she said, when I went in today to pick up, or the other day or something, to pick up the mail for her route, she said that the postmaster or her boss or whatever asked her, was there a Matthew McMillan on her route? And she said, yeah, I believe so. And they said, well, there's like a eBay standard envelope. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I get a lot of eBay standard envelopes, on a regular basis, and they take longer to arrive. I don't know why, but they take way longer than a regular envelope with a stamp on it. That kind of mail comes to me quicker than eBay standard envelope, but supposedly for seller's sake, eBay standard envelopes offer, you know, the tracking so that way, you know, the eBay seller is, you know, got more security, you know. No, they don't. This seller issued me a full refund. Okay. Anyway, my mail lady told me, she said, well, she said, if you're not she said, it's probably no big deal if you're you know, not missing an eBay purchase. And as she was getting ready to walk off, it just hit me. I remembered this card, and I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Actually, I had one that or like something I bought like back before Christmas. It never came, and I had to open. I said, you only got 30 days from the date that you purchased it to open up item not received case. So I said, I opened up a case with eBay. The seller refunded me, but it was like one card, and it was sent in an eBay standard envelope. Well, this thing had been scanned the date, like tracking number provided. The only thing that it showed on tracking updates was tracking number provided. That's it. And I told her, I said, it never came. The seller issued me a refund. And she said, well, that's probably it. And she said, when I talked, like she said, when I talk to them again, she said, I'll just tell them to let me see it. Well, I'm going to tell you, this is what happened. Now, normally I would not show my address, but I'm not really showing my total address. But right there's my name, okay? And my address is covered up. Now, what was happening, this was coming to the Youngstown Distribution Center, and the seller was sending this from Florida. Now, you can see right here, you can see how weathered looking this envelope is. It's been processed through machine after machine after machine. There is 3 different return to sender labels on here, okay? And when I peel these off, because, well, actually, I'm sorry, there is 4. Wow. And they've got the date on them, okay? This was sent back to the seller and stamped unable to forward on January 11th. Then it was stamped return to sender not deliverable as addressed on January 19th. And then it was stamped as return to sender unable to forward to current mailing address on on February 6th. And this first one here, that when I pull that back, says December 28th. Okay. 4 times this made it to Youngstown Distribution Center Post Office. 4 times it was sent back. And it wasn't actually going all the way back to the seller. What was happening is when it gets sent back, it gets sent back to Pittsburgh, D.C. Pittsburgh was looking at it, and they were sending it right back to Youngstown. And it was going back and forth. All because, and listen to this. This is what my mail carrier told me today. Okay? Apparently, the person that runs these through at the Youngstown DC, though that normally would do that and scans them into the system as they arrive and then puts them into the route, whatever route they go out to, did not know that that the street I live on, my address, and I have got package after package for years. Been living here for 8 years. Never had a problem with my address here. Roseanne lived here before me. She never had a problem with this. But apparently somebody that currently works at the post office, the distribution center here in Youngstown, Ohio, would look at this and how it was addressed because it said Avenue. And they were typing into the computer system, or when they would scan it in the computer system, it would come up that there was no known address. And you know why? Because some idiot with the Postal Service had entered the address or changed it to where instead of saying the street I live on, Avenue, the street's name, and Avenue, which is how it's always been, they have updated it in the system to have AVE dot. So it would just say my street name, Avenue dot, or AVE. dot abbreviated. And the what gets me, and even the mail carrier, my mail lady, laughed about it. Apparently, the woman that was doing this, a young woman, um, did not, it never dawned on her to look at that and say, oh, well, maybe let me try and see if ABE, because see what it was is not the entire United States Postal Service. This was just my local distribution center. They had it set up in the system, and because when she scanned it and it comes up and it says Avenue, the word Avenue, and she sees in her system that she don't have that. She said, well, that street doesn't exist in Youngstown. It's been here for over 100 years. The reason she didn't think so is because she didn't have enough upstairs to realize that Avenue, abbreviated, is AVE, and that street does exist in her system. The mail lady told me that in the future, just to save this from happening, that I may want to change my mailing address on eBay from actually what it is with the word Avenue to just AVE, because the younger employees at the post office, they get mystified when they see something like that. They don't understand. And she said, but this has been sent back, returned to sender, as if my address did not exist. And the post office, the distribution center in Pittsburgh was like, yes, it does. And they would send it right back. And the same woman was doing this and sending it out all this time. So I got this today. Now, this is February 13th. Okay. I had already, I actually had already got a refund for this. So what I did when I got this, before I even am doing this video, I've already got on eBay. I've sent the seller a message to let them know that it finally showed up and explained to them what had happened, that it was going back and forth between Pittsburgh and Youngstown like that, because somebody at the distribution center did not realize that AVE dot was the same thing as Avenue. And so I got my card here for the 88 top set, and I still needed this. Luckily, I didn't pick up another one or anything, so got that one, another one down for the 88 top set. And I also told the seller in the message, that if they would, message me their PayPal address, that I will send them exactly what I had originally bought the card for, that they had to refund me, so that way they're not out of the card and out of money as well, because I hate that. Because I used to sell on eBay, and nothing makes you madder than to lose an item plus the money. And the seller, a lot of times, and I've been on that end, you think, well, whoever said they didn't get it, they just got scammed, or they're just trying to scam me. And the sad part is the seller sent this in an eBay standard envelope. There was never an update on the tracking, not at all. So even right now, when I got on there today, it still shows as just tracking number provided. It does say item refunded, but it shows on the tracking number provided. That's it. All that scanning. And and I asked my mail carrier, I said, how can it how is it that you guys scan it, but it doesn't update in the system? And she said, we scan the barcode on the outside of the envelope. And she said, or they scan this right here when it comes in down here at Youngstown. She said she had no idea or control as to why it didn't update in the system. But at any rate, that seller, if I wanted to be crooked, I could just put this up and not say anything. And a lot of people would say, well, it's been so long, just don't even worry about it. But I contacted the seller, and I'm going to give them, it was three. I think I paid, it was $3 and shipping was $1, and then there was tax. But I'm just going to, I told them, send me your email address. I mean, not your email, your PayPal email, and I will send you $4, because I'm not going to send more than that for tax money and everything, but they already lost fees, whatever, and that sucks for them. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm doing try to do the right thing, make it right, so that way they at least don't lose any money. But because I needed that for the set anyway. But that is some of the problems with UPS or USPS today. There's no reason that should happen. there is, and it also not only shows the problem with the younger generation today, but my mail carrier, who was not that old, she's younger than me, but she said that the lady at the post office had not been working there that long, like 4 or 5 months, that scans all these things in that come in as they come in and puts them in. And she said she actually didn't realize that AVE dot was the abbreviation for the word avenue. How can you? That shows a big problem in the world. Why would somebody give you a job if you do not have the education to realize that the word avenue is abbreviated AVE? Why would you be allowed to work with handling and sorting mail if you don't know that? That would be like if I was working at the post office and I got a letter that was somebody had wrote it out, and instead of addressing it and writing like Florida, the word Florida, they just wrote FL dot. And I would be like, well, there ain't no state called FL dot, so I'll have to return this to sender. I mean, it's crazy. So, anyway, I did finally get the card, luckily. And a lot of times, those cards just nobody knows whatever happens to them in situations like that. Now, this right here came in yesterday. This is Jury Mumphrey autographed index card. This is an older index card, and I'm betting because of how yellowed this was probably signed back in his playing days. He played in the 70s and 80s as a pretty darn good outfielder. Nobody probably remembers him today that didn't grow up, during his career. But this guy was a great outfielder, and he's not that hard to find signed. But I had seen one, I'd seen several of his 88 Topps cards signed. Uh, I wanted Blue Sharpie. I prefer that. The only one I seen signed in Blue Sharpie, guy was wanting like it was over $10 plus shipping, and he was charging shipping as if he was shipping in a bubble mailer. You know what? I'm not paying that much for a common player. Mumford used to sign by mail, and I had not been able to write to him. He has a I haven't found any successes recently or anything, so I didn't try to write to him or anything. But he used to years ago be a good signer by mail. And anyway, the guy that I bought several other signed index cards from in a Facebook group had this because I had to get sent him a list of players that if he, to look through what all he had, because he has got tons where he's been collecting autographs for, 40, 50 years, and he has bought out other people's collections. And I just told him to see if he had any, of certain players. Well, he had this one. I went ahead and bought it from him. This one was like $3. And to me, that's worth it. I'm going to turn that into a sign cut, like you've seen me if you've watched any of my other videos, and put that in a top load, put it with a set. Because to me, $3 for this, and it is his authentic autograph, is cheaper. And to me, I mean, down the road, if I get a 88 Topps signed by Mumphrey through the mail, great. I can always throw this in another part of my autograph collection and put that in. But for right now, this will be fine as a signed cut in the set. Put it in a top load, put the 88 Topps card right with it in the set in, numerical order. All right, here is two through the mail autograph returns, and both of these are great signers, and anybody that's been doing TTM for a while knows it. The first one here is Walt Terrell. Now, I sent Terrell 3 cards. I only got 2 back. Now, he used to be a guy that was known to sign as many as 6, 7 cards for some people. I even have seen people, and I've never done this. I would not do this to any player, but I'd seen where people had sent the guy as many as 10, 12 cards, and he signed them all. Now, he signed 2 for me, and one of them is his 88 Topps card. I did not need this for the set, but I sent one. I decided if I was going to write to him, I was going to send him, 3 cards. I sent him 3. And this was one I found in a box of cards that I had set aside to use for TTMs possibly down the road. So I sent that. He signed it in blue. It'll go into an album. It's a little bit off center. The one I've got in the set's better centered than this, and is also signed in blue Sharpie as well. So this will go into a binder. Now, this right here is one that I'm tickled to get back because this is his rookie card, Topps rookie card, 88, 84. I've already got, I think, one of these signed that's in better shape than this. but still happy to get that signed by him. But the card I really wanted signed, I sent a Tigers team leader card from 88 Tops. Now, actually, he is not pictured on it. It's got Alan Trammell. It's got Kirk Gibson, both pictured on the card. But I just, to try to finish out the set as cheaply as possible, because it's only a team leaders card, I just wanted to get any former Tiger that played for the Tigers in 1987 to sign that team leaders card. So I sent one to him. He kept that team leaders card and signed these two. Now, some players will not sign a card if they're not pictured on it. I understand that, but it was worth a shot. But I've actually got Alan Trammell already signed on his regular 88 Tops. That's actually authenticated by SGC. Would Trammell is hit or miss by mail, um, as far as signing for free or whatever. But I guess I could sit down. I sent him a card back in August of just his All Star card. Never got it back. And that shocked me because a lot of people that wrote to him that he did not sign, he would return the card. I never got anything back, and I may still get it back, and it may be one of these situations. I don't know, but at any rate, Walt Terrell signed two cards for me, and then this one here is one of my favorites. I like this guy was a great pitcher. And he signed three cards for me, and one of these will go in the 88 Top set as another card down. Uh, Dave Dravecky, and I I don't have it anymore. It's it may be in some stuff at my dad's house in Virginia, but I had a book. It was paperback edition, but it was his story, battling cancer, making a comeback, and then having his arm break. Um, Anybody that grew up, watching baseball in the 70s or 80s, well, his career was in the 80s, but anybody, was watching baseball in the 1980s, they know exactly who he was. This guy was a great pitcher with the San Diego Padres when he came up in the early 80s. This is his, I think, second year Tops card, signed beautiful in blue Sharpie. Very happy to get that back. Dravecky I mean, he wasn't like a Cy Young contender or anything, but great numbers. ERAs that showed, he was very effective, a very good left-handed pitcher. The Padres traded him to San Francisco in 1987, but not before. He was a good member, key member on a great Padres team that went to the World Series in '84. They did lose to the Tigers that year, but they won the NL pennant. And they did it with a pitching rotation that really did not have a ton. They did not have that one great big anchor that everybody thinks of in an ace starting pitcher. That one, back in those days, you always thought of a guy like most teams that were contending. Well, they played the Tigers in '84. The Tigers had Jack Morris. Jack Morris was their ace. They also had Dan Petrie, who was as good enough to be most teams' aces, an ace for most teams back in those days. The Padres had a bunch of young starters. This guy, Dravecky, Andy Hawkins, Mark Thurman, Eddie Whitson. They did not have that one big time superstar in 1984 that starting pitcher. They did try to fill that void after the '84 season. They traded for Lamar Hoyt, who had been an ace pitcher for the White Sox in the early '80s, and Hoyt had one decent year in '85 for San Diego before falling on hard times. But Dravecky was a great pitcher. Well, by the time the '86 season rolled around, Dravecky wasn't that old, and he was still very good, but San Diego was going through a rebuild. And basically, the only player that survived that rebuild was a still very young, in his prime, Tony Gwynn. But Dravecky got traded to to the San Francisco Giants, and here he is pictured on his last scorecard. This is 1990 score. This was right there. It was after he had suffered a broken arm, after he'd made his comeback, and he remained on the Giants roster. He was still under contract, but the Giants did make it to the World Series in '89. That was the year of the earthquake in the World Series. That was the year that it was all San Francisco Giants against the Oakland A's. And sadly, it was an NL pennant winner, but sadly they did not win the World Series as far as for Dravecky. He made it to the big series twice with two different teams, but both teams did not win it all. Still, great pitcher. I've always loved him. He has a beautiful autograph, even though he no longer has, but he had to learn how to. This is one thing that gets me. This is a guy that, he was a left-handed pitcher, and it was his left arm that he lost. So he had to learn how to write right-handed. And he signed this Giants team leader card in blue Sharpie for me for the 88 top set. So that one's down for the 88 top set. So actually, because of that, we've had two more this week coming in because of the show field for the 88 tops project. Now I don't have the numbers handy. I didn't get them out before I started to make this video. I will try to make a point because I haven't shared that, but I'm up. It's like 520 something for the regular set. We're over 80 cards for the traded set on the 88 Tops project. So very nice. And also, this will be kind of a signed cut for the set. So anyway, that's been my mail the last several days. And thank you all for watching. We'll be back again soon with more videos. And, if you ever wondered, if you've ever had anything you purchased off of eBay and you just thought the seller never shipped it or whatever, you could be a victim of a postal service worker who does not understand abbreviations. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Be back again soon with more videos.